speaking at the end of that report. Well, as this year draws to a close, many will be thinking of the year ahead and of possible travel plans. It's a big business and growing fast, as the latest figures show travel abroad is back to pre-pandemic levels. 50 million passengers travelled through Irish airports for the first time this year. However, despite the surge in demand to take to the skies, a cap on passengers at Dublin Airport remains a significant challenge, and one that the Dublin Airport Authority says it has lost a number of routes because of. Well, Eoghan Corry, journalist and travel writer, joins me in studio to discuss this, as well as the travel trends in 2025. Eoghan, good afternoon. We'll start first though with that limit on passengers at Dublin Airport. It's a contentious issue, a row that has dragged on. Remind us who's involved and what is stopping this increase in capacity.
Good afternoon, Karen. Yes, we have a planning cap on Dublin Airport. It was imposed because of traffic on the M50 back in 2006 when the survey was done. 2 lanes on the M50, a barrier gate that went up and down. It sounds like stuff from long ago, which it is. But that was why Bord Pleanála put in a cap of 32 million passengers. If you reach 32 million passengers, you have to come back to the planning authorities. We've hit the 32 million. We hit it pre-pandemic without much fuss. But since then, it's become quite a debate. Just to put that in context, the end of November, we had 31 million gone through Dublin Airport. So we're going to exceed it by quite a distance this year. The debate has turned into something else since then. But when we're looking to next year, listeners will be familiar with the High Court case, which is now going to Europe, which affects the policing of the summer cap. It doesn't actually make the issue go away. It's all still there. How it's solved is a question for the new government. It can be solved through the planning process. Dublin Airport have put in an operational planning application which won't affect building or anything like that, just raise the cap. And then there is the political, which there's some debate of whether politicians can move on that. We'll know when the next government is founded.
So there is some short-term relief for airlines with the pause on that cap on summer 2025.
For summer, not for winter, interestingly enough, which includes England and France matches. 32 charters of French supporters supposed to be coming over for that match. Leinster rugby fans having to go through Belfast, a bit of a mess.
And so what kind of impact is this having on routes into and out of the capital? Because airlines are obviously trying to expand. And if I understand correctly, the priority is given to those who operate the longest at Dublin Airport. So the likes of Ryanair, Aer Lingus are benefiting the most, but others who've just come in recent years are struggling perhaps to get more routes.
Big issue for particularly the Americans who feel that it's been used to protect Irish airlines. Aer Lingus and Ryanair are responsible for more than 80% of the traffic through Dublin Airport. We have 16 new routes on the island next year. That would normally be Dublin alone. We'd have, to give an example, we had 43 new routes in 2023. Ones that would have probably come could have been, and which would have been very important for our Brazilian community, was the direct flight to Sao Paulo. I think it's very hard to measure this, but I think there are about 14 routes that we're talking to Dublin that have gone elsewhere. 8 of them have gone to Manchester. So it's not a question of Cork and Shannon getting any of them actually, but what we have, this lingering, it's actually preventing Dublin Airport doing what they normally do, going out looking for more business. With the population expanding, the economy expanding, we'd expect air traffic to be expanding at much or more or less the same rate. If you measure growth in the economy versus growth in the airport over the last 60, 70 years, it almost matches exactly. But they're not in the business of looking for new airlines at the moment, and it is going to cost us new routes and competition.
And outside of Dublin, I mean, overall passengers are up across the island, Belfast, Shannon and Cork included. So what new routes can people look forward to? Are there destinations that are of surprise, or are there obvious ones also?
Interestingly enough, the transatlantic is very important for Dublin because of changes in technology. Aer Lingus Santa Claus brought 2 new aircraft to Aer Lingus the week before Christmas, the St. Mela and the St. Leodán, and both of them have been deployed on the Washington Dulles route straight away, really beautiful. But and 50% of their fuel will come from sustainable aviation fuel should it become available in quantity, which is another really important thing. We have new routes to Indianapolis and to Nashville from Aer Lingus next year, and to Detroit from Delta. We've also got 2 new Dublin routes from TUI. TUI have changed their aircraft provision, and they're able to launch new routes from 4 of our airports next year. We've also some other interesting stuff from Ryanair, for instance, to Madeira and Shannon, Cork. But the 2 Belfast airports are growing. Not by massive numbers for the number of new routes next year, But as I say, the whole growth in Irish aviation has been curtailed. And when you look at the increases in numbers, like the two Belfast airports have grown by 12% this year, Cork by 11%. The overall, they're growing off such a low base. Really, for Irish aviation to work, Dublin has to be working at scale.
And I suppose just for holidaymakers, I mean, prices of holidays are always continuing to rise, but
Yes.
what you're spotting the travel trends in advance of 2025, what is really going to be, I suppose, of interest to people this year?
Very interesting to see. Ryanair will be taking delivery of 27 new aircraft next year. As I say, Aer Lingus have got their 2 long-haul aircraft in. So whether supply and demand mismatch as they have in the past year, it will be interesting to see. The 2 sales were launched, 3 sales, because TUI launched their sale just before Christmas on New Year's Day. Aer Lingus and Ryanair have both launched their sales for the summer. Aer Lingus sale travelled before May. Some of the Ryanair summer routes are in that sale. We are looking at also a big growth in all-inclusive. It had a really bad name, Karen. You're a veteran travel writer yourself. It had a very bad name, and it's come back into fashion post-pandemic for 2 reasons. The quality has improved massively with the likes of TUI, and the second thing is that when things start to unravel as they did during the pandemic, having an all-inclusive product with everything covered, transfers, is much easier to defend and to get compensation for.
So all-inclusive will be on people's radar. Eoghan Corry, thank you very much.
Always a great pleasure, Karen.
Take care. Thank you very much.